Okay, for chapter 9, right? We talk about long-term operating assets, 长期营业资产. So this kind of assets, we are going to use it for long term, more than 1 year, right? Operating. So we use it to do what? Help us earn the revenues from customers. So help us to sell the product or provide the services. Okay. So two major long-term operating assets we have. First one is what? PPE, property, plant, and equipment. PPE. So second one is what? Intangible assets, 无息资产. Okay. So we focus on PPE. Maybe that's only for your midterm exam. So for your midterm exam, I think maybe we could only finish first one, PPE. Okay. So for PPE, our 4 major groups. What are these 4 major groups? For your PPE, land improvements, 土地改良物, buildings, equipment. Okay. So for our PPE, always our first issue is what? Our first issue is cost. So what's the cost? On the first day, when you acquired your PPE, so what's the cost? How much money we spent to acquire our PPE, right? So last week, we let you practice on your note, page 7, right? So on your note, page 7, we ask you to determine the cost of land, right? So what's your cost of land? You buy the land. So when you buy something, usually it's 1 plus 2. So what's 1? Purchase price. What's 2? Make it ready for use. Okay? What if the building, instead of buying the building, you decide to build the building by yourself? Then don't forget, it's not 1 plus 2, right? It's what? The first day you start to build the building to the last day you've done the whole process construction. Okay. So the whole process will be your cost. Okay. So that's our first issue. How to determine the cost. What's the second issue I want to talk about today? So please go to your slide on page 30. Page 30. Since we've done the first issue, cost, we want to talk about the second issue. So what's the second issue? Expenditures during useful life. So expenditures during useful life, what does it mean? It means after, on your slide, page 31. After what? Ready for use. So after you got your PPE and you start to use it, okay? So it means what? After first day, you got your PPE, then you continue to use it. So any money you had to spend when you start to use your PPE, for example, for your motorcycle, for your bicycle, for your computer, for your car, any money, additional money you had to pay. Gas, right? Electricity. Or maybe you had to pay small money to repair your motorcycle, your computer, your laptop, right? So the second issue we talk about is after you start to use it, any additional money you paid, okay? So it's after the first day, the additional money you paid. When you use it. So accounting is quite simple. Usually for accounting, we want to talk about is the money you paid. The money you paid is your expense or your assets. So how to decide the money you paid is your expense or assets? How to decide is your good friend or bad friend? 好朋友跟坏朋友 How to decide is your good friend, bad friend? Time? Whether it could help you or not, right? Okay, my good friend, so it's good for me, so I can get some help from my good friend. Bad friend, what does it mean? Okay, I can only drink with them, but when I need help, they cannot help me. Okay, so the same, accounting the same. The money we spend is good, could help you in the future, then that's your assets. The money you spend, no future economic benefit, then that's your expense. Okay, so actually we want to talk about is additional cost. The money you spend is your expenses or is 资本化 capitalized. 资本化 capitalized means is your assets. Okay, so is your expense or assets? We want to talk about that. Okay. So, on your slide, page 32, how to decide is expense or assets, whether you have future economic benefit, right? So you can get the help from this kind of expenditures, then it's your assets. Otherwise, they are your expense. Okay? But maybe you will ask, oh, future economic benefit, oh, help. Sometimes it's quite hard because quite hard to imagine what does it mean. So here we give you some specific indicators, some examples for PPE. So what does it mean? I have a future economic benefit from the PPE. The specific example is that the money you spend will increase your PPE's useful life. Okay, so what does it mean? Your PPE's useful life. Useful life means how long you expect to use your PPE. For example, how long you expect to use your iPad? Child. 4 years, for example. After you graduate from your college, you don't want to use it. So useful life is how long you expect to use your iPad, how long you expect to use your car, right? So when I spend the money on my card, my useful life is increased. For example, maybe, okay, I expect to use it for 4 years, but when I spend the money to improve my iPad, then I could use it more than 4 years, okay? So maybe from 4 years to 6 years. So did you find out you have 2 years more? 2 years more means what? You can use it to maybe make more money, okay? So the first example is make your PP's useful life increase. What's the second example? That will increase the quantity of your products. Remember our PP, what's our PP's purpose? We use our machine maybe help us to produce the product, right? So when I improve my machine, they will make us produce more products, okay? So produce more products means what? I could sell the product to customers, earn more money back, right? So the second example is what? Make your product's quantity increase. Okay? Maybe not quantity, but it's quality. If the machine could help us to produce higher quality of products. Higher quality of products. Of course, I could sell it with higher price, right? Higher price, then I could earn more money. Okay, so these are some examples to help you understand what does that mean for future economic benefit. Okay, so when you spend the money to improve your PP, which will make your PP have a longer useful life, which will make your PP to produce more quantities of products or produce higher quality of products, then the money you spend worth, right? Okay, so that's your assets. Otherwise, they are your expense. Okay? Any questions? No problem? Okay, so based on this, actually, additional money you spend on your PP, based on the concept, we define them into two scenarios, two groups. First is ordinary repairs, 一般维修. So ordinary repairs, 一般维修. Also, you can call it revenue expenditures, 收益支出. Ordinary repairs means revenue expenditures, 收益支出. It's quite common terms you will find out in the future when you look at any financial contents or any financial courses. You will find out they will say, oh, the money we spend is on revenue expenditures, 收益支出. So revenue expenditures usually we mean the money we spend is small money, okay? Small money and occur quite frequently means that's quite common. We spend small money quite often on everything. So it's small money and frequently. Okay, so could you guess the money you spend is small money and happen quite frequently? Usually, these kind of situations will have future economic benefit. Small money like what? You spend the money to change the oil. You spend the money to change a small part. Could you guess when you change the oil, when you change the small part, 零件, well, may you have this kind of situation? Quite hard, okay? You change the oil, could make you drive have a motorcycle more faster? Yes? Impossible. Okay? So when we talk about small money, happen quite frequently. Usually, they could only maintain the situation. Okay? Maintain your PP's conditions. Okay? So when they only maintain the situation, it's impossible to improve your PP's any conditions, right? So they cannot give you the future economic benefit actually. Okay, so for this kind of situation, then we said the money you spend is expense. Okay, so for this, they cannot improve your PP situation condition. Okay, so that's why the money we spend no future economic benefit, then we recall it as expense. Okay? So let you guess. For you, you have breakfast, you have a lunch, you have a dinner. The money you spend on your lunch is your expense or your assets. Expense. Why? Because the money you spend on lunch only maintain your life, cannot improve your life. Okay? So that's why we record this. Your lunch fee is your expense, okay? Because only maintain your situation, cannot improve your situation, okay? So since you understand that's your expense, then which account we use for PPE maintenance and repairs expense, okay? 维修保养费用. So the money we spend is our expense. This account we use is maintenance and repairs expense. 维修保养费用. Okay, so what's a debit? What's a credit? Debit, maintenance and repairs expense. Credit, cash. If I pay the cash already. Okay. Any questions? So that's when we talk about the small money, which happen quite frequently. What if another situation, we spend the additional cost, additional expenditures on PPE, but there's big money, okay? So we talk about the second group, second situation is major repair on your slide 34. So our second group is major repair, 重大维修. Also, we call it capital expenditures. It's quite common terms you will find out in the future. So when you look at any financial related materials, they'll say, oh, this company spend the money on capital expenditures, 资本支出. So what does it mean? Capital expenditures, 资本支出, you know, that's for major repair. Okay, so major repair 重大维修 so means what? We spend the money is big money, okay? Material amount. We spend the money is big money. When we spend the big money, usually they happen. It's not frequently, right? So occurred infrequently. It's not happen every day. Impossible. Okay? So for this kind of situations, usually they will improve your PP's conditions. So here you will find out increase your PP's efficiency. So improve your PP's conditions. Okay, since they improve your PP conditions, of course they have future economic benefit. Since they have future economic benefit, so we recall it as assets. Okay? Like what? Change the engine. For your car, we have the engine, right? The heart. So for your computer, we have the heart. What's that? Hard driver? CPU? Okay. So usually if you don't change it, you don't change the heart of the PPE, then it die, right? So when I change the engine, then you could use the PPE maybe 2 or 3 more years. So did you find out? They will increase the PPE's useful life, right? So of course I could use it 2 or 3 more years. They could help us to make more money back. So that's why they have future economic benefits, okay? So we recall your assets. So which account we use? Depends on what kind of asset it is, right? So I spend the money on equipment, then I will recall equipment. If I spend the money on buildings, then I will use the buildings, this account, okay? So what's the journal entry we use? Debit, equipment. Credit, cash, if you pay the money, okay? So the money you paid additional cost for expenses or for assets depends on whether they only maintain or increase the PP's conditions. Any questions? If you don't have any questions, then please go to your note on page 11. Page 11, we have 2 additional expenditures. So for these 2 additional expenditures, then you should find out that's your assets or your expense. Okay? So please go to your note on page 11 right here. So did you find out? It's for your delivery truck. So delivery truck, 运货卡车. So means what? That's your equipment. Okay, so for the delivery truck, you got it. After that, then did you find out you spent $45 to change the oil? So that's the first additional cost we have. Second additional cost you have is you spent $580 to install spatial gear unit. 这个叫齿轮组合。So what's the keyword? Increase. Did you find out? Increase your equipment's conditions. Okay? So based on these 2, first issue you should understand the money you spend is expense or assets. Okay? So that's your additional cost. Okay? After you find out that's your expense or assets, then you just write down the situation using 2 journal entries. Okay? $45 oil change is small money, right? Happened quite routine, right? So usually maybe every, how long? 6 months or every year you have to change the oil. Okay? So for the first one, small money occurred frequently. So that's your expense, right? So what kind of expense for PPE? Maintenance and repairs expense, right? So first one, I have maintenance and repairs expense. 维修保养费用. Did you pay the money? Yes. So your cash decrease. Second one, you spend $580, which improve your PP's functions. So you got the assets. You spend the money, which made your assets increase. Okay, $580. Also, you pay the cash, so cash decrease. Any questions? No? Okay. So actually, for the second issue, key point is you should find out that's your expense or asset. So how to determine that's your expense or assets? Future economic benefit, whether you can get the help from them. Okay. So also maintain or increase. Maintain the situation or increase the situation. Okay? Any questions? Okay, so we go to the third issue. So please on your slide 38. We've done first one, cost. We've done second one, additional money you spend is your expenses or assets. So we go to the third one. Also, the most important issue in this chapter is depreciation, 折旧. So what's depreciation, 折旧? After you use your PPE, your PPE's value decrease, right? So depreciation will describe the whole process situation. When we use our PPE's value decrease. Okay, then we call it depreciation, 折旧. So for example, on slide 39, I have a dream. So do you have a dream? To buy the dream car or no? Yes, right? Also, I have a dream. So I want to buy the dream car like this. So, okay, I actually did. I buy it on first day 2025. How much money I spent? $1,000. Okay, so $1,000 I spent. How to find out is $1,000? $1,000 is the cost I spent to buy the car, right? So how to decide is 1,000. 1 plus 2, right? So what's 1? Purchase price. What's 2? Make it ready for use. Okay, so remember $1,000 is after 1 plus 2. Then you find out you spend $1,000 the cost to buy the car. So what does it mean useful life? 5 years. Useful life 5 years. 使用年限 means what? I expect to use it for 5 years. Like what? Cell phone. How long you expect to use the cell phone? 2 years? Because after 2 years, I want to get a new one. Right? So today is iPhone 15 or iPhone 16? 16? Okay. Do you know my iPhone? If you guess correct, I give you the price. My iPhone? iPhone 6? iPhone 8 Plus. Oh, sorry. No one gets correct. So iPhone 8 Plus. So how long I expect? My useful life, how long I expect to use my cell phone? As long as possible. Because I don't want to waste my money to buy the new one. I want to save my money for something else. Okay? So useful life is how long I expect to use it. So for the dream car, I expect to use it for 5 years. Okay? So what do you expect after 1 year? Especially in Taiwan, the bad weather, raining day. So after 1 year, did you find out your car? Different, right? How about second year? 2 years? 3 years? 4 years, right? So the car, the PP, after you use it, is different. Not only for the looking, also for what? Everything, right? 5 years. After 1 year, what's a useful life? 4 years, right? 3 years, 2 years. So everything will not be the same after you use it. Also, for what? The cost value. So could you tell me 1,000 on the first day? How much for after 1 year, after 2 years, after 3 years? Okay? So for the whole process, after you use your PPE, it's different. But I know the value also should be decreased, right? So for the whole process, we call it depreciation, 折旧. Okay? So first day, I have assets. How many years? 5 years, right? After 1 year, you have the assets for how long? Only 4 years, right? Could you tell me? The useful life decreased 1 year. It's not your assets anymore, right? It become what? Become your expense for 1 year. Remember? What's the difference between assets and expense? Assets have a future economic benefit. When you used your assets, the part you used, no future economic benefit. No future economic benefit means what? That's your expense. Okay? So asset decrease, expenses increase for how long? For 1 year. So this one means your assets used. Assets used means what? No future economic benefit. Okay? So the part you used 使用掉的资产没有未来经济效益，那就是什么？费用。Okay? So asset used, no future economic benefit. So that's our expense. Okay? After 1 year, asset only 4 years. Expenses increase 1 year. So how about next year? Assets only 3 years. Then expenses increase 2 years, right? Okay. Then how about next year? Assets decrease 1 year. Okay. Expenses increase to 3 years. Any questions? So did you find out what does it mean for depreciation? Assets decrease, expenses increase after you use your PPE. Okay. So your assets decrease, expenses increase. Okay? Any questions? And for this kind of situation, when I used my PPE, which made our assets decrease, expenses increase. For the whole process, we call it depreciation. So that depreciation for this kind of expenses, so we call it depreciation expense. Okay? 折旧费用. Any questions? So this whole process is our depreciation for PPE. Any questions? No problem? Okay. Then, on slide 40. So what does it mean, depreciation, 折旧? After you used your PP's useful life decrease. Your PP's value decrease, right? And expenses increase. So that's why depreciation, we said, it means your PP's value decrease. Your PP's ability decrease. also means your PP's value decrease. Okay, so why we need to do depreciation? Why we need to do depreciation? 为什么要提折旧？ Because your PP's ability value decrease. So we have to do depreciation, 提折旧 to tell them the whole situation. So depreciation, 折旧 want to tell you after you use your PP's value ability decrease. Okay, any questions? No problem? Okay, its value decrease, ability decrease. Of course, the first reason is what? You use it, right? So after you use your PP, so that's why your PP's value, ability decrease. So maybe that's why your PP's ability value decrease after you use it. But also, even though you don't use it, its ability value will be decreased. Why? Even though you just put it over there, you don't need to use it. It's because of out of date. Out of date, what does it mean? 过时。过时 It's like what? If you have an iPhone 15, right? You don't need to do anything. Next month, iPhone 16 on the market. Immediately, your iPhone 15's value decrease, right? Because everyone want to buy the new one. No one want to get the old one, right? So out of date means that even though you don't use your PPE when iPhone 15 on the market, which will make your iPhone 15's value decrease. Okay, so iPhone 15 is out of date because new product, new technology on the market, then your value, your ability will be decreased. Okay, so maybe you use it, maybe you don't use it, but it's out of date. Either one will make your PP's value ability decrease. So for the whole situation process, we have to do depreciation, 折旧. Okay, any questions? No problem? Okay, then let's write on your slide page 41. Slide page 41. Did you find out depreciation? We want to tell you what? Your assets value decrease, right? Then assets value decrease, expenses increase. Okay? If you forgot, you can go back to this one on your slide, page 33. The whole process, depreciation, may your assets decrease. At the same time, expenses increase. Why? After you use it, assets decrease, expenses increase. The whole process, we call it depreciation. Okay? So that's why here the slide 41 told you. Depreciation is the process. Assets decrease, expenses increase. Okay? So we will make your cost become expenses. Remember, cost. What does it mean, cost? Cost means cost of assets. Cost of assets, still, that's your assets. So your assets, when you use it, it will become to your expense. Okay? 转为费用 after asset used. Okay, any questions? Assets will become expenses after your assets used. Assets used, no future economic benefit, right? So they will become your expense. So remember, we tell you the whole process. Assets decrease, become your expenses. So assets decrease, expenses increase. Assets decrease. Why? Because after you use it, PP's value of ability decrease. Okay, any questions? No problem. Okay. So one thing, not one thing. Okay, one thing before we take a break. Here I want to tell you, so far the content we tell you is the accounting process. So what does that mean, accounting process? We will tell you based on accounting methods. So later we will tell you 3 accounting methods. Based on these 3 accounting methods, trying to help you find out assets value decrease how much. Okay, so it's not the market value, it's accounting method. For example, here iPhone 8 Plus, what's the value right now? One thing, you have 2 numbers. One thing, you have 2 numbers. So what are these 2 numbers? First number, iPhone 8 Plus value today based on accounting methods. Later, we will tell you how to do your math to get the number. So based on accounting methods, maybe we will tell you the number, the value is $1,000, maybe. But what's the second number you will have? Arnold, you are trying to check the price right now? Yeah, so what's the price right now? iPhone 8 Plus, the price on the market right now, how much? At least it have some price, right? No one want to buy it? How much? $7,000? 70,000? Impossible. Impossible. Okay, anyway, the second number you have is market price, right? So what does it mean, market price? You sell it today. How much money you can get? That's a market price. Okay? So you should understand, For one thing, we have two numbers. First number is what? Today, if I sell it to you, how much money I can get? This market value, 市场价值. But what if today I don't want to sell it? How can I get the market value? Impossible, right? So that's why accounting, we try to help you to estimate the cell phone's number today because I don't want to sell it. So you should understand, in our case, when we tell you depreciation, the method is based on accounting method. It's not the market value, okay? So here I told you accounting process is our only accounting process, okay? It's not the real market value, okay? So on slide page 42, based on the cost, what's the cost? 1 plus 2, how much money we spent? $1,000. After I use it 1 year, you should understand, after you use it 1 year, its value should be decreased, right? Decrease how much? Here, I assume $800. This $800 is based on accounting methods. We will help you to estimate the numbers, okay? So did you find out? After 1 year, your asset value decrease. Decrease how much? $200. Okay? The value decreased $200. Why? Because you use it, right? So value decreased $200 become our expense. This expense, we call it depreciation expense, 折旧费用. Okay? Okay, any questions? So that's a basic concept we want to tell you about depreciation, 折旧. No problem? Then take a break. Later we will tell you how to get the number by yourself.